Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Rereading Popular Childhood Series. In this video, as you see by the title and by the thumbnail, we are reading this series of unfortunate events. Terrible person, terrible man. I am so hyped for this because this was one of the most popular series growing up. There was The Maze Runner, there was Harry Potter, and there was a series of unfortunate events. When I was younger, all I can remember right now is I either got up to the 6th or 7th book. I remember reading the 6th book, like I literally remember the pages, but I don't remember reading the 7th, and there are 13 books in the series, so we're gonna start with the first 5. I have accumulated these. I bought the first 2 off of Amazon, and the next 3 I actually owned already. So without further ado, let's get to reading The Bad Beginning. Alright guys, I meant to talk about it, but I didn't because I read it literally within 2 hours. This book only has 162 pages and I finished it like right before going to bed. So let me tell you about it. It is good. I rated this book 4 stars. It flies by. Like actually, you have no effort reading this book. It is so entertaining. It keeps you intrigued. It's the beginning of a series, so it kind of sets the tone. And the author did a really good job at making this so easy to read, so intriguing, so entertaining, and it is rather suspenseful. You do want to know how these kids get out of the traps. So basically, a synopsis of the series is that if you see on the cover, these 3 kids are orphans, unfortunately. You get the backstory of how they become orphans in this book, and they start living with their first relative, which is in their parents' will. So this is the first relative. His name is Count Olaf, and he is going after their fortune. And without spoiling anything, that is a synopsis of these books. It follows that same theme throughout the rest of the series, but in this book, we meet the antagonist, and he's trying to come up with a scheme to get the fortune of the Baudelaire children, and Violet comes of age in 4 years, so he's trying to figure out how he can get his hands on it. And the kids are uncannily intelligent, so they keep getting out of these schemes, and in this book they find out who's coming after them and why he's coming after them and how they're going to keep running away from him throughout the rest of the series. I rated it 4 stars. Now on to The Reptile Room. Hey guys, Editing Natasha here. I'm here because I realized I never told you guys about The Reptile Room. I just went on to the 3rd book, so let me tell you about it. I like this one. I like this one because there was more happy moments within this book, and it was just good. It was just a cool overall 2nd book in the series. Honestly, it wasn't anything remarkable. I believe I rated this one like 3.75 stars or something, but I liked it. It was definitely unfortunate. It was definitely sad. Like I said in the previous clips, Count Olaf makes an appearance in all of these books, disguising himself as somebody and creating new schemes to get the Baudelaire fortune that is left to Violet as the eldest child. So this book is funny. It's very humorous. As you can see, Sunny in this picture is biting a massive snake. If you read this particular book, you'll understand why and how that's amusing and funny and lighthearted. But it is a very interesting tale, and the author definitely got very creative in this story, but I really enjoyed it and I would recommend the series. What's up guys, I am right now on The Wide Window, the 3rd book of the series of unfortunate events. I have been flying through these books. The first one was 162 pages, the second was 192 pages, and this one is 200 and I believe like 204, 203, somewhere around there pages. It took everything in me not to finish it last night because I've been barely filming my progress on this, but right now I'm on page 182. I'm on chapter 12. This is what it looks like, and I'm gonna finish this book right now. So I'm going to continue reading this. This book is called The Wide Window, and if you guys don't know, the series of unfortunate events is exactly what it's called. It is a series of unfortunate events. Each book follows another unfortunate event that happens to 3 orphans, and in the first book you get their backstory, and they're followed by a bad guy so far within these past 3 books. I am on the 3rd one. I'm going to finish it today, probably start the 4th one today. So without further ado, let's get back to reading. Alright guys, it has been like 20 minutes. I have finished The Wide Window. So it was actually 214 pages, which is the longest in the series yet. And like I said, there's 13 books in the series and I only have 5 of them. So that's going to be the duration of this video. So this is number 3. I'm over halfway done with the 5 books. And this book is about 3 children, 3 orphans that are sent to the care of their aunt. That's not really their aunt. It's just like a really, really, really distant relative. So they're in her care and she's literally terrified of absolutely everything. Like she can't pick up the phone because she thinks she's gonna get electrocuted. She can't turn on the stove because she thinks she's gonna explode. Like she can't do anything because she's so afraid. So the kids are obviously like, wow, this kind of sucks. Like we can't do everything. We have cold soup every night because she can't warm anything up. Their evil other distant relative is constantly following them around and causing a series of unfortunate events to befall these children. The evil distant relative has another disguise and basically he's after their fortune, which is the premise of every single book. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. These books are very entertaining and are a very quick read. And it's interesting to me that they're children's fiction because I would never ever let my child read this book. Like they have like the author Lemony Snicket, which I actually just found out was an alias. Like he has a real name, that's his fake name. Put some things in here that kids should not read, like they shouldn't know about. And this is like literally like young kids literature. So I wouldn't let my kids read this book, but it's interesting reading it as an adult because I really liked the series when I was younger. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know, I was just intrigued by the whole premise of a series of unfortunate events, 3 orphans, you know, and they're all extremely intelligent kids. So they're figuring stuff out. Like the middle child loves to read, the baby has sharp teeth, and then Violet, the oldest sister, she is an inventor. So I find that super interesting because when I was a kid, I wanted to invent stuff too. This book specifically, I liked it. It's like a 3.5 stars. I wouldn't really say that this series is a 5-star series. The previous 2 books have been rated 4 and 3 stars, and now this is 3.5. So we'll see what book 4 and book 5 have in store. I like it. I'm not loving it. Like I'm not like, oh my god guys, this series, whatever you have to do a reread. It's kind of just like I'm having a good time, and that's pretty much it. Without further ado, I'm gonna get into the 4th book now. To start The Miserable Mill, and I haven't done this yet, so I figured I would read to you the back because I think that this guy's synopsises are so funny. I'll just read it to you so you know what I mean. Dear reader, I hope for your sake that you have not chosen to read this book because you are in the mood for a pleasant experience. If this is the case, I advise you to put this book down instantaneously because of all the books describing the unhappy events of the Baudelaire orphans. The Miserable Mill might be the unhappiest yet. Violet, Klaus, and Sunny Baudelaire are sent to Paltryville to work in a lumber mill, and they find disaster and misfortune lurking behind every log. The pages of this book, I'm sorry to inform you, contain such unpleasantries as a giant pincher machine, a bad casserole, a man with a cloud of smoke where his head should be, a hypnotist, a terrible accident resulting in injury, and coupons. I have promised to write down the entire history of these 3 poor children, but you haven't, so if you prefer stories that are more heartwarming, please feel free to make another selection. Like, this guy fully tells you, don't read this book. Like, just don't do it. I just think that's hilarious. So anyways, I'm gonna start this now. So I am on page 103 of The Miserable Mill. As you can see, I'm kind of a little bit over halfway, and honestly, I'm getting kind of bored because all these books follow the same premise. Like I said, it's the bad guy chasing around these kids and creating schemes to get their fortune because they're rich, because they're orphans, and when their parents died, they inherited all this money. But until Violet turns 18, obviously she can't get it. So it's getting very redundant, and like, yeah, this story is a little different because usually within the first 50 pages, the bad guy, which is named Count Olaf, is revealed. Like, his disguise is revealed. But I'm 100 pages in and still he's nowhere to be found. But like, there's still unfortunate events happening. I'm still gonna finish it, and I'm still gonna read book 5. I don't think this series is meant to be read in quick succession because it just gets really redundant. I'm going to put a pause on this for now, but in the next clip, I will definitely be reading this again. So I just finished The Miserable Mill by Lemony Snicket, and I'm going to give this one, this is like immediately after finishing it. I don't know, I want to say 4 stars. It's been one day since the clip that I said I was getting bored, and like, that was true, but I feel like binging these books the way that I have, like I've been reading one a day, is a little bit too much, too quick. So I took a break. I stopped reading yesterday, and then I read again this morning, and it just got really, really interesting. Like, the last, I want to say 50 pages were really, really entertaining and really good. I think if I remember correctly, The Austere Academy, which is the next book in the series, the 5th book, was my favorite. I'm going to probably start that later today, but I just wanted to tell you that I finished. It was really good, and the premise is definitely getting weirder in terms of like the schemes that the bad guy is doing to get these 3 orphans fortune. And also just the themes are really dark and really weird. Like, I looked it up and it said that this is considered gothic children's fiction, and like I said, I would never let my kids read these books. This is an adult series, like, for sure. I think this is like a comedic, satirical adult series. Finished the 4th book, on to the 5th and final book of this video. I was about to start talking, but can we look at the fall foliage behind me? That is stunning. That is literally gorgeous. Oh my gosh, it's a fall wonderland. Okay, hey guys, I am, like I said, on the Austere Academy. I am on chapter 9. I'm 133 pages in. I wanted to update you guys. I now remember why I like this book so much. It's because it has friendship. I've said this before on multiple times in multiple books. If a book has a good storyline and subplot of friendship, I'm sold. It ups the rating by so much, because there's nothing like reading a good solid friendship that you can relate to, that tugs on your heartstrings, that really just makes it feel so real and raw and emotionally deep. I think that's why it was my favorite when I was younger. This is the last and final book of this reading vlog, and honestly, I really do think I'm going to continue reading the rest of the series. Based on how this book went, I'll talk more about all 5 books at the end in the little wrap-up section. I'm interested to see how it all ends, and I was just doing like some research, like just for fun. Lemony Snicket, which is the author's alias name, he wrote 13 books in literally 7 years, maybe even a little less than 7 years. He published like 2 to 3 books a year. That's crazy, because towards the end of the series, I'm assuming it's because as the reader, like the general age range of these books increase, the more pages he's able to write, so it can be more entertaining. There's a lot more action, a lot more detail, a lot more plot twists, because the beginning of these books were like only 100 something pages. Now this one's well into the 200s. I'm hyped to see how the storyline ends, but other than that, I'm going to continue reading. All right, guys, the time has come. I have finished the 5th book of the series of Unfortunate Events. I thought this book was the best out of probably all 5 that I read. The first one I think might be just as good, if not slightly less good compared to this one. Like I said in a previous clip, this book had friendship, and I am a sucker for friendship. I love friendship tropes in books. This book was also a lot longer, so there was a lot more to unpack. There was a lot more schemes. There was a lot more development. I liked it more for that reason. There was more for me to grow attached to. I rated this book 4.5 stars. It honestly propelled the interest for me to read the rest of the series, books 6 through 13. So perhaps I'll ask for them for my birthday, perhaps I'll ask for them for Christmas, but no matter what, I would like to get my hands on the rest of the series and read them because I am super fond of Violet, Klaus, and Sunny. Those are the 3 main characters in this book, the 3 orphans. I am rooting for them. I want to see how their pure and intelligent little minds just come out of this situation. I know it's called a series of unfortunate events, so I'm not expecting a happy ending at the very end, but your girl still holds out on hope because if anyone deserves a happy ending, these 3 kids do. So looking forward to that. Without further ado, let's get into my review and rating of all 5 books. All right, guys, let's get into what I thought about the first 5 books in the series of Unfortunate Events. I love these colors. They're so like fall. To me, this series is fall. The colors are fall, and I love how small they are too. This is what I thought about these books in this series so far. So book number 1 is called The Bad Beginning, and you kind of get set onto the scene of these orphans' lives. You know, they just unfortunately lose their parents. They have to live with a relative. They're going through the details of their parents' will and what happens when Violet, which is the eldest sister, turns 18. So there's 3 main characters. It is Violet, Klaus, and Sunny. Sunny is a baby, literally an infant. Klaus is 12, Violet is 14. So there's 4 more years until Violet turns 18 and can take full ownership of her parents' fortune. So they go to live with Count Olaf, which is this person right here, and he's just a terrible man. Like, terrible person, terrible man. He does not know how to be a guardian at all. He's cruel to these children. To put things basically, because it's the same premise for every single book, bad things happen, they escape. Count Olaf is the antagonist in this series, and he is consistently trying to come up with a scheme or a diabolical plan to steal the Baudelaire's fortune. Violet, Klaus, and Sunny always come up with a counter plan to escape unscathed. Now, unfortunately, sometimes escape unscathed, sometimes not. In the first book, it pretty much set the scene for what their lives are going to look like throughout the rest of the series. I rated this one 4 stars. I thought it was very good. I thought it was really intriguing, really well done. The premise, like the idea, the plot line behind the series is super interesting to me. I've never read anything like it, so I really did enjoy it, and it just set the tone for what to expect for the rest of the books. Book the second is called The Reptile Room. This one was nice. Lemony Snicket basically sprinkles in bouts of happiness, bouts of hope for these orphans, because obviously if you're reading a sad book with a sad story, you have to have something to lighten the mood. You have to have humor, you have to have some moments of hope, something that the orphans and the reader can hold on to keep reading, or else you're gonna be so sad reading these books. This was that. They actually had a really nice time living with their second family member. Unfortunately, calamity came and they escaped, and they needed to live with another relative. So that brings into the third book. The second one was a 3.75, and this one's definitely a lot more sinister. This book definitely for me was like, wow, I would not allow my kids to read this because they do have dark topics. They have very serious topics as well. So honestly, I would look up trigger warnings. This book has a lot of riddles, which is cool. You can help solve it along. The third one was a 3-star. And then book the fourth is A Miserable Mill. I would say this is the worst book in the series, but not in the sense that it was bad. This book was the most boring, I guess you could say, because, you know, the storyline gets redundant. This one, however, had less action, less games, less riddles, less puzzles to solve. It was just kind of like very mundane, so that's why I found it very boring. So this one was rated a 3. And then the fifth book was a 4.5. That's pretty much how I felt about this beginning 5 books of the series. They were really cool, really interesting. The characters are all different. The schemes are kind of distinct in each book, kind of, sort of. And there are some frustrating aspects, like for example, they do do have a guardian that's not really a guardian. They have a banker that takes care of their affairs, but he doesn't take care of the children. And these books, the adults are all very dumb, very dim-witted, like they're not very intelligent. And the only people of real sense are the kids. This is definitely a satirical series, and honestly, I would recommend if you're interested. But like I said, I would recommend to adults. So if you're over 18, you may read these books because I would not recommend it to children. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that I did. Comment down below what series you want to see me reread, and I will see you guys in the next video. God bless you guys, and peace.